Good morning. I'm Brian Middleton, Fort Bend County District Attorney. We have a very sensitive situation. We're asking for the public's help. We have a suspect, Mr. Sergio David Chavarria, who we believe has been preying on children in Fort Bend County. He's currently charged with an offense, and we believe because of the allegations of the offense, it's very likely that there may be other victims out there. So we're asking for the public's help to take a look at Mr. Chavarria and the circumstances of this case, and let us know if you have any information regarding any offenses committed by Mr. Chavarria. The lead prosecutor on this case is going to step forward in just a second and give you further details. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Chris Priestmeyer, who is Assistant District Attorney in charge of this case. Thank you. Mr. Priestmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton, and good morning. My name is Craig Priestmeyer. I will be the lead prosecutor on this case. I'm coming for you today asking for the community's help. Over the past couple of weeks, the Richmond Police Department has investigated information in regards to sexual abuse of a child here in our county. Now, the abuse was determined to have occurred at a local hair salon called Express Cuts here in Richmond, Texas, and the victim is a 13-year-old child. Now, what the investigation has shown thus far is that this individual, Sergio Chavarria, was in fact an employee of Express Cuts, and that the victim in this case was at the establishment in order to get a haircut. Now, the Richmond Police Department has identified this defendant, as we see here in the photographs, spanning over the past decade, and we're asking that the community take a good look at this individual to see if they recognize him. We also believe that he is probably or might have been an employee of Express Cuts for the past decade or more. Now, based on the investigation, we do strongly believe that there are other individuals who have possibly been victimized by this particular defendant, and that is why we are asking for the community's help to come forward to bring any information in regards to this particular individual. Parents, if you have children who have either gone to Express Cuts or have been around Sergio David Chavarria, we're asking that you have conversations with your kids about those experiences. And to all members of the community, if you have any information in regards to this defendant, please, we're asking you to contact the Richmond Police Department at the contact information we will be providing later. Now, we understand that these conversations are difficult and that the thought of coming forward is often frightening. However, we are fortunate in our community to have a child advocacy center as a part of the Child Advocates of Fort Bend with specially trained individuals that can interview children and teenagers in investigations like this. The Child Advocacy Center with the Child Advocates of Fort Bend is a safe environment for children and teenagers to be able to talk about their experiences with those specially trained individuals. Now, Child Advocates also provides therapy services for victims as well as their families. And I want to make it very clear that for any individual, a victim of a case like this, there is provided an alternative name or a pseudonym to protect the identity of that individual, and that confidentiality is of the utmost importance in the investigation and prosecution. Additionally, the focus of an investigation like this is on bringing the defendant accountable to the crimes that are committed and not the immigration status of any individual that comes forward with information. And with that, I'm going to turn it over now to Chief Jeff Craig to provide a few words, as well as provide any contact information for anyone in the community who has information about this particular individual, Mr. Sergio Chavarria.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. I want to begin by thanking District Attorney Middleton and Assistant District Attorney Priestmeyer and their office for working aggressively and cooperatively with us in the best interests of our residents in the county and in the city of Richmond. The arrest of Mr. Chavarria was a result of an extensive investigation on the part of the Richmond Police Department detectives, but it also highlights the critical importance of victim and witnesses coming forward to provide key information, and our thoughts go out to the family of the victim and the victim. But I would also like to appeal to the public to come forward if you have any information whatsoever regarding this particular individual, and also in our attempts to possibly identify additional victims that might have come across the path. That being said, I'd also like to thank the Fort Bend County Children Advocacy Center for their valuable assistance in this case. I'm very proud of the work done by the Richmond Police Department detectives and the crime scene investigators. These are very sensitive investigations. To that end, in an effort to protect the integrity of the case, and as it's an ongoing investigation, there are limitations to what information can be given out at this time in this setting. And at this time, I'd like to introduce lead detective Andrew Rung, who will provide some additional remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for coming. Good morning. My name is Detective Andrew Rung with the Richmond Police Department. The suspect, Sergio Chavarria, is currently in custody for indecency with a child by contact, which is a second-degree felony. The offense did occur at Express Cut Salon, which is located within the city of Richmond. The suspect is a registered sex offender, and he's required to register for life. We believe there are possibly more victims, and we ask the parents to please speak with your children and come forward and talk to them. We want to make sure that all the children in the community feel safe and know that they can go and talk to their parents or talk to law enforcement to be able to get the help that they need if something did occur. If anyone does have any additional information on the suspect, please feel free to contact me at 281-342-2849. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Detective. Thank you, Chief, and Mr. Priestmeyer. This is a very serious matter. We're asking for the public's help, and this is how we keep our community safe, working with our law enforcement partners and working with the community. There's a strong likelihood that there are more victims, and we need your help in identifying those victims. And I want victims to know is don't be afraid in coming forward. We will protect you. Don't let immigration status or any other concerns affect you, because when you come forward, that's not an issue. The issue is Mr. Chavarria, and we want to hold him accountable for his actions. Thank you. Are there any questions at this time?
Yes, is he currently in custody?
Yes.
He's going to get a bond, or so he's getting out? Or what's?
Craig, how much is his bond?
It's currently set at $320,000.
Okay. You want to come up? Yeah.
When was he arrested?
Let me go ahead and answer his question real quick. He's currently set at a bail of $320,000 and is in custody across the street at the Fort Bend County Jail.
And another question, what makes you think that there's more victims? You said he worked there for almost 10 years?
Correct, yes. And over the course of that span, and based on some additional information that we've gathered, it just seems too unlikely that there is not another individual who might have come in contact with this particular individual. And so that's why we're here now asking for parents, community members to talk to your children. It's too popular of a place for there not to be.
Was he a registered offender already?
Correct, yes. He is a registered sex offender, required to register for life annually.
Was he allowed to work at that particular place where kids go in to get haircuts?
So within the state of Texas, the laws under sex offender registration only prohibit from certain places of employment, right? And so the way that the laws are structured now is it was possible that he was allowed to be able to work there, but he is required to notify his registering authority, the Texas Department of Public Safety, of any place that he is employed. And we believe through the investigation that there might be information that he was not complying with those, as he is facing charges for his failure to comply with his registration requirements.
Follow up on that. So was the employer know that he was a registered sex offender?
Based on the information that we have in the investigation, we cannot comment on whether the owner did in fact know or not. So we don't have that information at this time.
When was he arrested?
He was arrested on the 9th. Yes, November the 9th, from arrest warrants that were obtained by a Fort Bend County judge.
Can you mention when did the incident happen and how long did it take the victim to come police?
Right, so I prefer not to comment on when the incident occurred. Over the course of the year of 2020, we believe that it is when it occurred with a particular victim that we have identified. And as we know from this particular establishment, open multiple days of the week, that's why we are now asking for anyone else who might have had contact with him to come forward.
Was this the first time they had contact while he was cutting, did he cut hair? Is that what he did there?
We believe that he was assisting in the haircutting process in some form or fashion, that there might have been another individual who was actually doing the cutting. But again, because of the ongoing nature and some of the sensitive facts of the particular case, we don't want to give out too much in the interest of not tainting anyone that might come forward with potential information.
If the minor was a female or male?
Again, I'm not going to comment on to whether the gender of the particular victim was a male or female. Particularly in crimes like this, as we know, for an individual who is or might commit an offense against a child, sometimes gender is not a preference of their particular thing. So I don't want to preclude some parents from asking children of any gender about their participation at this particular establishment or their interactions.
It's possible there's adults now, if he's been cutting hair for over 10 years.
There's a possibility that they could be adults, that they could be over the age of 18. And I want to stress again to the community that it's never too late for you to come forward and talk about abuse that might have occurred no matter how long ago it was. These allegations, the information, anything will be taken seriously by the Richmond Police Department as well as our office.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on when he was arrested and where?
Yeah, I'll actually let Detective Wrong over at the Richmond Police Department elaborate a bit more, but is there any other questions from...
More or less similar one. When did this investigation start? Can you give a circumstances under which the investigation began?
Yeah, let me turn it over to the Richmond Police Department to provide some additional information in regards to whether for the arrest.
Thank you, sir. Okay, can you repeat your question for me,
Yes,
sir?
can you elaborate a little bit more about this case, when he was arrested and when the charges were presented?
He was arrested on November 9th of this year, or this month. I ended up getting arrest warrants through the Fort Bend County DA's office, and he was taken in custody that day. The arrest was made in the city of Richmond. Other than that, I don't want to provide any additional details because it is still an ongoing investigation. So,
How long was the investigation going on?
I did receive the case early October, is when I received the case to begin investigating it. So.
Can you comment on the circumstances under which the investigation began?
It was an outcry made by a child, and then we ended up doing the forensic interview with the Fort Bend County CAC, Child Advocate Center.
So the victim came forward to file a complaint.
I'm sorry? Can you
Was the
repeat?
victim the complainant in this case, or was there a tip which led you to investigate?
No, it was not tip. You asked if it was a tip?
Yes.
Okay. No, it was not a tip. The 13-year-old made an outcry to their parents.
Detective, can you provide the address of the hair salon?
I cannot. I'd be more than happy to provide you the name. It is located within the city of Richmond. It is Express Cuts Hair Salon. It is located within the city.
Is it like a chain?
No, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The business owner has no objection in the name being given out, or he has no control over it?
I haven't actually asked her permission on that. That's up to the owner. At this point, it's still an ongoing investigation. I do want to notify the place where it occurred just because it is frequent by a lot of places.
The scene of crime occurred there, since
Yes, sir.
location.
Yes, sir.
And the type of the offense that happened there was indecency with a child. It was not sex assault.
The subject is being charged with indecency with a child by contact. Any other further questions?
Besides the new tapes, what is the next step in this case? You have enough things to go for trial, or you have to do more investigation?
On this particular case with this gentleman, I believe we have plenty to go forward with the trial. This is why he is in custody and why we did end up getting the arrest warrants. But the reason why we're coming out and speaking with you guys today is because we do believe, with it being a public facility where someone gets their haircut, that our current victim is not the only victim.
I just want to add a comment.
Yes, sir.
I just want to stress to the public that if you have a child who's received services at this hair salon, speak with your child and ask if anything anything bad happened, anyone touched them improperly. You need to have that conversation with your child. Sometimes children don't come forth with this information or there's a delay, but I encourage you to have the conversation with your kid and ask them were they ever touched improperly while they were at this hair salon. We need the public's help because of the nature of this offense. We strongly believe that there are other victims out there. And I want to stress again, do not let immigration status discourage you from coming forward. It's irrelevant for us. We want to protect victims. We want to protect the public. So speak with your children, speak with your family members, and ask the questions. If you've been to this hair salon, have they been touched improperly? Thank you.
Really quick, can we get everyone's names and spellings one more time?
Okay. You want to go forward, Chief?
Chief of Police Jeff Craig, Jeffcraig.
It's going to be Assistant District Attorney Craig, C-R-A-I-G. Last name is Priesmeyer. That's P-R-I-E-S-M-E-Y-E-R.
Detective Andrew Rung with the Richmond Police Department, A-N-D-R-E-W. Last name is R-U-N-G-E. Thank you.
Okay. And of course, you probably already know, but I'm Brian Middleton, B-R-I-A-N-M-I-D-D-L-E-T-O-N, Fort Bend County District Attorney. Thanks. Oh, y'all okay for a picture to take off masks? You need us to come in closer? Y'all want to tighten the shot so they can, this will be in this paper, so we want this to spread.